Water. We think about water, we think about lakes, we think about summer, we think about spring and fall colors and so forth. But rarely do we think about winter. Let's drop in on a painting that I have been doing of a winter lake. And let's see how we can add some rocks to this, how we can truly make this look like a frozen lake. I live in New England, and I've lived in New England most of my adult life. And one thing that I like to do is go out onto the lake, drill a hole, put in some fishing poles, go over to the tent on the side of the lake where we're roasting sausages and all kinds of things and having a couple of drinks. And then whenever that flag pops, I send my youngest son over to get the fish off the hook. Now that's fishing. Let's go on. As you can see, we've got some river banks that's coming over like this. It's all covered with snow. And so how do we go ahead and turn all of this into a lake? Well, the very first thing I want to do is sharpen up the edges. So I'm going to take a number 3 fan and the number 3 fan bristle fan brush. And notice how I've loaded the paint right up there. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to try to get my hand out of the way. And I'll start here at the bottom and pull up. See that? See that? That just starts to pull it up. You know, pull the other way, but just before you leave it, just go ahead and pull up. Now and then, just with a little bit of a brighter white than what you've been using. A lot of times we'll use some blue to separate one hill or another, but this helps us to shape up the edges, if you will, of what we're doing and where it is. Now, let's get this to go perfectly straight. Got one more spot over here. Now I have very little paint on the edge of the brush. Set in that water line, just like you would a path. We don't really have a water's edge like we do. We'll still put in the water line. Just setting all of that in. This is all frozen. So there's no water movement. So whatever you do, make sure it's straight across. You don't want these big swells in there. It would make it look strange to have these huge swells which are raising and lowering the ice. There are a couple of things that actually work together. Now that I have that, I'm going to take some liquid white and my knife. And I'll just take the liquid white, put it on the palette, and spread it very thin. We'll be really thin with this. And then I'm going to take some small amount on the small edge. And I'll just come along here. And just go ahead and put this liquid white right on the edge of each one of this land that's jetting into the ice from where we can see it. Notice that I'm still using that straightforward motion. Now, there's no water flowing. That's the first thing you must realize on this. So if we see water flowing, we're going to have to lift up that flowing part. All we want is this edge to say, hey, I froze in a mid-splash. So how we do that? Well, we'll just take something like this. There it is. See? Just that easy. How about that? Just that easy. I just lift it up a little bit. I hope you can see it. Sometimes I get my hand in the way. The reason I know this is I even watch my own videos and I see something like that and I say, oh my goodness. Then I look at my producer and I say, why didn't you tell me? He goes, I did. You're just deaf. You don't hear me. Something else I like to do is to put a little rock in there. And with the rocks, I like to make them just a shade of blue, not much. So I'll just take a shade of blue and white together, load it up thoroughly on my brush. Let's take a look at my brush. See that? blue and white mixed up thoroughly. Then I'll take a little bit of liquid white on one side. See that? Liquid white and the blue and white. So I'll just come over here, and there's a rock. Here's another one, and here's another one, and here's another one. And I'll bring one over here. When you run out, a lot of people ask me, I ran out of paint. And I'll agree with them. Yes, you did. And they say, what do I do? And I feel compelled to tell them, load up again. Now, we're dropping the temperature in this painting, aren't we? You can get as many there as you want. Again, whenever you run out of paint, I see people that paint almost an entire painting without ever loading up. I don't know how they do it. I gotta load up every 4 or 5 strokes, sometimes every stroke. You can have big rocks coming on the edge, just like that. And because we have this hill sitting in front, let's go ahead and set it back in. So see how you've just got that rock sitting now right behind that riverbank that's coming in? So let's take a look at how we would set these in with the water line, because that's very important as well. And I want just a small amount of paint right there on the knife. I'm going to put my finger on. I'm going to sit here and use a lot of pressure, because this is just frozen. Who knows, it could be the cracks that are starting. When I was young, people wanted to play hockey on the ice. I was the first person out on the ice. I didn't even play hockey. They just wanted to make sure it was safe. So I became the ice tester. If it could support me, it could support them. If this painting can support you, you're an artist. You can do this. Anybody can do this. I think one of the reasons that a lot of my students really enjoy these videos and these different technique videos we have, as well as the lessons that I provide, is simply because anybody can do this. You don't need to be born with some special talent. I think that just about finishes that. And if you were doing this as a final painting and you wanted to add anything to it, you could just take some of this real bright white and just add some white like that wherever you feel it was necessary and would enhance the painting. So I just wanted to show you how you could do a frozen lake as we're sitting here looking at all the different water techniques.